finally, we'd like to thank our partner this year, the Perfect Impression Print Shop, for helping us create t-shirts and sweatshirts. And with that, let's begin today's program. Our first speaker is Mahima Basker. Mahima Basker is currently a sophomore at Unionville High School. She is an active participant in several school programs, including Unionville Post, Speech and Debate, multiple choir ensembles, and French Honor Society. Outside of school, she has pursued and performed Indian classical music for the last 10 years and volunteers in her community. In her free time, Mahima enjoys listening to music, watching movies, reading, and spending time with her family and friends. Through her TEDx talk, she hopes to highlight the unique power of movie theaters and inspire others to keep their magic alive. This is The Magic of Movie Theaters by Mahima Basker.
I want you all to think of a movie that changed your life. All right, do you all have one in mind? I'm going to talk about mine. So imagine a pitch black screen, absolute darkness, and then a voice emerges from the darkness. Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head? When I was 5 years old, and I heard this dialogue for the first time from a movie that remained one of my all-time favorites, Inside Out, that moment was quite literally a core memory. Sitting in the darkness of our local movie theater, surrounded by strangers who were just as captivated by the movie as I was, that was the moment I fell in love with films. Now, whether we realize it or not, our lives are undoubtedly shaped by the movies we consume. There's a reason why our favorite characters in films feel like real friends. But the place where these stories most truly come to life is at the cinemas. After all, without the distractions of our phones and side conversations, the cinemas create an immersive experience unlike any other. For those 2 hours, our outside lives fade away, and all that matters are the characters in front of us and their stories. So, today, I'm going to talk about the magic of movie theaters, why they matter, how their influence has dimmed, and why we must fight to keep them alive. Now, some of you may be wondering, why am I employed to talk about movie theaters? Well, I like to think that in every family there is a topic that connects everyone across generations. You know, the topic that comes up in every dinner table conversation. And in my family, that topic is, without a doubt, movies. In fact, I come from a long lineage of cinephiles. My grandfather, who is a now retired sound engineer, worked in several movie theaters across India and worked on fixing sound, and so, consequently, my mom became a frequent moviegoer growing up. And she carried this enthusiasm for films with her to her life in the United States, passing her interest on to my sister and I. And as I get older, I've started to understand why going to the movies feels like such a precious experience. After all, we live in a world that just seems to be moving faster and faster with social media and a toxic culture where everyone seems to be in a rush to get on with their lives, sometimes with no finish line in sight. But when we're at the movies, we can take a break, slow down, and look at life through someone else's eyes. Just those 2 hours of seeing the world through another perspective can help bring on empathy and put our own problems into proportion. But as someone part of the younger generation, I also understand the argument saying, well, why can't we just stay home and watch Netflix, stream movies? And although I agree, it is a very comfortable and convenient option to digest media, streaming often doesn't allow us to truly experience movies as we should. For example, when we watch movies on streaming, we often get distracted with one eye on our screens and the other eye on our phones. Let's do a raise of hands. How many of you have turned on a movie on the TV just to get distracted by something on your phones? I know I sure have. But when we are at the movies, distractions fade away. We watch movies at the movie theaters as we should, fully focused on the stories that we are about to experience. However, we must face an unfortunate truth. Movie theaters are in danger. The cinemas are dying out and are doing so at a shockingly fast rate. Over just the past 2 decades, for example, 46% of box office sales have gone down, despite there being a 17% increase in the US population. It's the statistic equivalent of expanding a theater just to have half the audience show up. And the pandemic has made this problem even worse. Over just the last 5 years, since 2020, there has been an eighth of all movie theaters in the United States shutting down. So, how do we fight back against this dangerous new threat to cinemas? My advice is to start slow. After all, a small step towards change is still a step towards change. Once a month, go watch a movie in a local theater. If you follow any big franchises like Marvel or Disney, go ahead and watch those. Or even better, take a chance on a random indie film you've never heard of. You might be surprised by the impact it makes. And most importantly, continue to pass this message on to other people through social media and other platforms. Because movies in movie theaters have a special power. Through just one film, they can open us up to new perspectives we may have never considered before. Through just one film, they help us cultivate connections, forged from one of the strongest things there is, empathy. That is the magic of movie theaters. So, taking all of these steps, even if they are just small steps, they will make a difference. And perhaps, together, we can preserve this beautiful phenomenon of sitting in a dark room with a bunch of strangers we've never met and expanding our horizons with a simple story. And perhaps, together, we can save the cinemas. Thank you.